Unit 1, Educational Development in India. Education in ancient India. The concept of education might have originated from the Vedas. The literal meaning. The Sanskrit word Veda is knowledge, and the word derived from the word vid, which means to know. Our ancient education system evolved over many centuries and focused on the holistic development of the individual by taking care of both the innate and latent capacity. Sources of learning. You must have heard the names of Panini, Aryabhatta, Katyayana, and Patanjali. Their writings and the medical treatises of Charaka and Susruta were also some of the sources of learning. The gurus and their students worked conscientiously together to become proficient in all aspects of learning. In order to assess students' skills, literary debates were organized. Ancient education system in India, a way of life. Gurukula system in ancient India, both formal and informal education existed. Indigenous education was imparted at home in temples, padasalas, and gurukulas. This was known as Gurukula system of education. The family of Guru functioned as a domestic school or an ashram. During that period, the Gurus and their Sishyas, pupils lived together, helping each other in day-to-day life. The Gurukula was also the place where the relationship between the Guru and student strengthened with time. Around these viharas, other educational centers of higher learning developed, which attracted students from China, Korea, Tibet, Burma, Ceylon, Java, Nepal, and other distant countries. Viharas and universities, Buddhist period. Taxila was an ancient Indian city which is now in northwestern Pakistan. It is an important archaeological site and the UNESCO declared it as a World Heritage Site in 1980. Its fame rested on the university where Chanakya is said to have composed on his Arthashastra. Archaeologist Alexander Cunningham discovered its remains in the mid-19th century. The Jataka tales, accounts given by Hyun Stang and Ait Singh, Chinese scholars, and other sources tell us that kings and society took an active interest in promoting education. Among the most notable universities that emerged during that period were situated at Taxila, Nalanda, Varabi, Vikramshila, Odantapuri, and Jagadala. These universities developed in connection with the Viharas. Those at Benaras and Kanchi developed in relation with the temples and became centers of community life in the places where they were situated. The ancient Nalanda University was a center of learning from the 5th century AD CE to 12th century AD CE, located in the present day Rajgir, Bihar. Nalanda was one of the oldest universities of the world, and UNESCO declared the reigns of Nalanda Mahavihara a World Heritage Site. The new Nalanda University is envisaged as a center of inter-civilization dialogue. Education in medieval India. Medieval period witnessed a radical transformation with the introduction of Muslim education in the Indian subcontinent. They founded primary schools, maktabs, in which students learned reading, writing, and basic Islamic prayers, and secondary schools, madrasas, were established to teach advanced language skills. Several madrasas were set up by the sultans and nobles. The main objective of these madrasas was to train and educate the scholars who would become eligible for the civil service. Iltutmish was the first ruler to establish a madrasas at Delhi during his rule. Gradually, many madrasas came into existence. Madrasa of Ghaziuddin in Delhi and the Madrasa of Maulana Sadruddin at Shahjahanabad. The medieval period saw the founding of many religious monasteries which also took up the cost of education. The Ahobila Mutt in Srirangam was one among them, where Sri Ramanuja had made distinctive contribution to the cost of education. Besides Mutts, Jain Pallis, and Buddhist Vihars played a vital role in educating people wherever they existed. They had large libraries of books in all branches of learning. Role of Christian missionaries. Francis Xavier, a Jesuit, started a university at Cochin. They started many primary schools, the first college offering degrees and a completion of a course was started in Goa in 1575 where Christianity, logic, grammar and music were taught. John Kirananda was one of the most zealous pioneers and was perhaps the first missionary in India to introduce education for non-Christian children as an evangelistic agency. In 1812, Dr. C.S. John established 20 free reading schools in Vancouver. After the arrival of English East India Company in 1600 AD CE, institutions were established for imparting instruction in English. Mount Stuart Elphinstone was actually a strong advocate of vernacular education, but on his retirement in 1827, his admirers collected funds and established a college offering English classes named the Elphinstone College at Bombay. Education in the British rule. History of education in the British rule can be divided into four periods. One from the early days of the British rule up to 1813. Two, period from 1813 to 1853. Three, period from 1854 to 1920. And four, period from 1920 to 1947. The company's charter was renewed in 1813, which compelled the company to assume responsibility for the education of Indians, though on a very limited scale. Besides missionaries, non-missionaries like Rajaram Mohan Rai of Bengal, Pachayapar of Madras, W. Fraser of Delhi contributed to the cause of education. In 1813, the East India Company was compelled to assert the responsibility for the education of the Indians. Charter of Act of 1813 made a provision for an annual grant of a sum of 1 lakh rupees for the promotion of education in India. These controversies were partially set at rest by Macaulay's minutes of 1835. But even then, the controversies continued till 1854. The third phase of British influence education may be called the period of an all India educational policy. It commenced with Sir Charles Wood's Despatch in 1854. The Wood's Despatch 1854 is called the Magna Carta of English education in India because it was the first declaration of British education policy for educating the masses at all levels. But it resulted in the complete control on state education, divorcing it from Indian ideals and culture. The fourth phase may be called the period of provincial autonomy. The Act of 1935 ushered a new era of educational advancement through the country. The new programs were hit hard by the worldwide economic depression in 1929. The introduction of complete provincial autonomy by the Government of India Act of 1935 further strengthened the position of the provincial ministers of education. Varda Scheme of Education 1937. In 1937, Gandhiji awarded a scheme popularly known as the Varda Scheme of Basic National Education. Educational development of independent India. The new epoch making era in the history of education was used with the attainment of independence in 1947. It brought a new hope, a new vision, a new future for the Indians. In 1948, Dr. Radhakrishnan Commission was appointed to present a report on university education. In pursuance of the Commission's recommendations, University Grants Commission was constituted to determine the standard of higher education. One of the most events that have taken place in the field of secondary education was the appointment of the Secondary Education Commission in 1952 to 53. It suggested new organizational patterns, improvement in quality of textbooks, curriculum, and methods of teaching. An education commission under the chairmanship of Dr. D.S. Kothari was appointed by the Government of India in 1964. Free and compulsory primary education for all children up to the age of 14 years and uniform educational structure of 10 plus 2 plus 3 pattern were its main recommendations. National policy in education. The first national education policy of 1968 marked a significant step in the history of education in post-independent India. Education remained a state subject till December 1936. But now the education is in the concurrent list. The new education policy was revised again in 1992. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan (SSA) and Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan (RMSA). The Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan (SSA) is the Government of India's flagship program that was launched in 2001 to achieve Universal Elementary Education (UEE). SSA is now the primary vehicle for implementing the provisions of the right of children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009 RTE, Right to Education RTE, provides for free and compulsory education to all the children from the age of 6 to 14 years. The goal of RMSA is to make secondary education qualitative, available, accessible, and affordable to all young students in the age group 15 to 16 years. The Union Budget 2018 to 19 proposed to give school education holistically without segmentation from preschool to class 12. It subsumes these schemes, SSA and RMSA. In 2017, a committee was constituted by the Ministry of Human Resources Development to draft the National Education Policy. This committee submitted its report in 2019, Educational Development in Tamil Nadu. The Tirukural stresses the need for education and warns the dangers of illiteracy. In ancient times, the school was called Palli and the teacher was a Kanakayar. Hyunstein gives a graphic picture about Kanchi Buddhist center, and Kanchi was considered as the main center of learning. The Chola period was the most brilliant and creative period in the Tamil literature. The Pandya kings patronized Sanskrit in an exemplary way. Lands were given to teachers. They were known as Salabokam. Example, Vallabha Perunchalai at Kanyakumari. Thinnapalli Kudam was established during the Nayak rule. Sir Thomas Munro, the governor of Madras Presidency, 1822-27, was highly responsible for the introduction of Western education in Madras Presidency. In 1835, Lord William passed a resolution favouring the introduction of Western system of education in India. Wood's Dispatch of 1854 introduced the Department of Public Instruction in Madras Presidency. Grant in aid was given to all schools. The Madras University was founded in 1857. The Annamalai University was founded at Chidambaram in 1929. Education since independence. Free education at the secondary school level was introduced in 1964-65. The Gandhigram Rural College was established in 1975. In 1956, midday meal program was introduced in schools. Later, it was extended as nutrition meal scheme in 1982 to avoid dropouts in schools. The National Policy on Education was framed in 1986 and was modified in 1992. Since then, several changes have taken place to meet the changing dynamics of the society.